There was once a beggar named Alhamdani. Every day, he went to the village trash pile to look for food. His search was hard because the poor villagers were careful about what they threw away. Sometimes he only found a few grains and seeds. One day, something shiny caught his eye in the morning sun. He bent down and picked up a silver coin. His stomach said, "Go to the market and buy food for a good meal." But his head said, "No, stomach. You will be happy today, but tomorrow you will be even hungrier. Better keep this coin until something special comes along." A few days later, a trader came to the village. His donkey pulled a cage made of sticks, and inside was a gentle animal with big eyes and long pointy horns. She was a gazelle, a type of deer, known for being beautiful and graceful. Alhamdani saw the animal and thought, "Here is something beautiful I would like to have," and he called out to the trader, "Friend, stop for a while so I can look at what you have." The other villagers laughed and said, "That beggar has no money to buy a gazelle. He gets his food by looking through the trash. If you go near him, he will steal your money." But the trader said, "I have seen well-dressed men who ask for my price, and when I tell them, they say, 'Your gazelles are too expensive for us.' Maybe the man who wears old clothes will think my animals are a good deal, God willing." The trader was happy he had an open mind when Alhamdani reached into his torn and dusty clothes and pulled out a silver coin. The trader took a small gazelle out of the cage and handed it to the beggar, saying, "Here, master, take this one. I call it Kajipa." Then he turned to the villagers and laughed, saying, "You, with your white clothes, turbans, swords, daggers, and sandals, you rich men, you told me this man was too poor to buy anything, yet he has bought a gazelle for a silver coin." Alhamdani smiled with his yellow teeth and happily led the gazelle back to his hut. That night they slept together on the straw, and in the morning they went out to the trash pile to look for food. The next night, when it was dark and they were alone in the hut, a low voice whispered, "Master." Alhamdani sat up quickly and said, "Who's that?" "It is I," said the voice. "Your faithful gazelle, Kajipa." At this, the beggar was very surprised because he did not expect the gazelle to talk. "What wonder is this?" he asked. "No need to be amazed," said Kajipa. "Do I wonder that you can talk?" Then she explained why she had woken up her master. "I am grateful to you, my master, because you spent your last coin to buy me and to free me from the cage. But to tell you the truth, I cannot sleep because I am so hungry. Let me go free in the morning to find my own food, and in the evening I promise to return to you." Alhamdani blinked and pinched himself to see if he was dreaming. It seemed he was awake, so he agreed to let the amazing gazelle do what she wanted. In the morning, she went out to look for food. All day he worried if he would ever see his beautiful pet again, but in the evening she came back to him. The next morning, she went out again to find her own food, and the day after and every day. On the 5th day, she put a paw on a lump of earth, turned it over, and found something hard and shiny. "This is a diamond," she said to herself. When I give it to my master, he will be rich and all his troubles will end." She picked up the diamond in her soft mouth and headed home. But as she went along, she thought, "But for how long will he be rich? The other villagers will accuse him of stealing the precious stone and will take it from him." After thinking this over, she made another plan. The amazing gazelle turned around and went to the Sultan's palace. When she arrived at the gates, she spoke to the guards saying, "I have brought a valuable gift for His Excellency." The guards were so surprised to hear the animal talk that they said, "Indeed, this is a wonder for our master to see," and they brought Kajipa before the Sultan. The gazelle went down on her knees before the great ruler and dropped the diamond at his feet. "Your Majesty, this is a gift from my master, who is as wealthy as he is wise. His name is Alhamdani, and he sends this as a sign of his good faith. He wishes to unite two noble families." The Sultan understood this to mean that Alhamdani wanted to marry his daughter. He thought to himself, "A man who sends a talking gazelle with a diamond as a gift would be a good relative." He spoke aloud to the amazing visitor, saying, "Stand up and go back to your master. Tell him the Sultan wants him at the palace to celebrate the wedding of his eldest princess and Alhamdani." The gazelle had been away for some time, and her master was very sad. The villagers laughed at him, saying, "Look how the dirt scratcher has lost his one piece of good luck. Even his special gazelle has run away from him." But that night, as Alhamdani lay asleep, he felt a soft nose nudging his face. He turned around and saw in the moonlight that his graceful friend had returned. "Now listen carefully," said the gazelle. "I bring you good news. Do not ask what it is. Just do everything I say and you will be happy." The beggar nodded and felt no fear about agreeing to do anything he was told, because the good thing about having nothing is that you have nothing to lose. At first light, the beggar and the animal set off along the dusty road. They walked all day, and towards evening, when they came to a stream, the gazelle said, "Lie down here in the ditch by the water and do not move." Alhamdani did exactly as he was told and lay still while the deer kicked and hit him with her claws until he was bruised and scratched all over. Then she told him to stay exactly where he was until she returned. She ran down the road, kicking up the dust behind her. When she reached the palace, she asked to see the Sultan immediately and said, "My master has been attacked by robbers and lies bruised and beaten by the road. They have taken his clothes and all the nice things he brought for the wedding." On hearing this terrible news, the Sultan sent his attendants to find Alhamdani by the stream. When they found the poor man, they woke him up with smelling salts, gave him food and water, cleaned his wounds, bathed him in the stream, and dressed him in silk robes. In this way, the beggar arrived at the palace dressed like a prince for his wedding. As soon as the wedding was complete, the faithful gazelle went off to find a good home for her newly married master. She ran along the road until she came to a large stone house with emeralds and precious stones around the windows and doors. "Here's the place," she said to herself before knocking on the door. She knocked, but nobody answered. She knocked again, but nobody answered. She knocked a third time, and an old serving woman opened the door. The gazelle said, "Good lady, I wish to speak to the master of the house." The old woman did not look surprised to see an animal talk. Instead, she said, "Go away unless you want to die. First, please tell me who the master of this house is," insisted the gazelle. "He is a wicked, seven-headed serpent. He killed the rightful owner, and he will surely kill you if he returns and finds you here." "Is there a good sword in the house?" asked the gazelle. The old woman said there was. "Then lend it to me, and I shall deal with the serpent." A little while later, there was a sound like a big storm coming. Dust, brushwood, and debris began to blow down the street. "Prepare to meet your doom," said the woman. "We'll see about that," said the gazelle. She took up a position just inside the house, holding the sword between her paws. When the great snake arrived, he smelled something unusual and said to the old lady, "What is this new meat you have prepared for me?" And she replied, "It is delicious. Why don't you come inside and try it?" The serpent poked one of his 7 heads through the door, and as he did, the gazelle brought the sword down and cut it off. The cut was so clean that the monster felt nothing more than a tickle. He put his 2nd head inside, and the gazelle cut that one off too. "Who scratched me?" demanded the snake. "It was I, Kajipa," replied the gazelle. The serpent was curious to see who Kajipa might be and put his 3rd head through the door. This too was cut off. And so it continued until all 7 of his heads had been cut off and he was dead. The old lady was happy, and Kajipa went to fetch her master and his bride. Meanwhile, the servants of the old master returned and made the beautiful house ready for them. So, the happy couple had every luxury and comfort they could want. But it did not take long for Alhamdani to forget his old poverty. If he was lazy before, he was even lazier now. He grew fat and arrogant and forgot to thank his faithful gazelle. One day Kajipa said sadly to the old woman, "I have arranged for Alhamdani, who was once a beggar, to marry the daughter of a sultan and to move into a fine house with servants. The strangest thing is, he has not once asked me how I did any of this for him." Not long after that, Kajipa became ill and took to her bed. The old lady went to see Alhamdani and said, "Master, your gazelle is sick and aches all over." Alhamdani replied, "What do I, a man of wealth and position, care about an animal that cost a single silver coin? Give her some gruel and tell her she is lucky to live in this house." The old woman was shocked to hear his lack of concern for the faithful animal. Soon Kajipa grew worse, and Alhamdani's young wife came to plead for the gazelle. "My husband, Kajipa is getting worse and her groans are terrible to hear." Alhamdani replied, "Then plug your ears with wax." Soon after that, Kajipa died. The master ordered her to be buried in the dust heap. That night, he fell asleep without any guilt for his ungrateful treatment of the amazing gazelle to whom he owed everything. And in the morning, when he woke up, he was once again a ragged beggar in his old hut. When he was hungry, he had to go out to the dust heap to look for scraps of food. The village children mocked him and said, "Alhamdani, where have you been? You have been away so long we thought you were dead." But I'm happy to say that the Sultan's daughter, who had a good heart and was thankful for all her good luck in life, lived in the house in comfort, peace, and happiness until the end of her days.